So our lead this hour, we're going to change it up a little bit. We go where the news of the day takes us. I love this story. It's a baseball story. It's not about the GM meetings, which are going on in San Antonio. The post-mortem on the Fall Classic continues to be a thing. So the Dodgers made quick work of the Yankees in the World Series. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now, they're basking in the afterglow, and the guy that has the biggest mouth on the Dodgers, his gums were flapping. We're talking about Joe Kelly. Now, Joe Kelly, forever a Dodger legend because he stuck it to the cheating a-holes, and that was wonderful. We all love that. Thank you, Joe Kelly, again for that. He's not a very good pitcher. But if you didn't hear what he said, maybe not, during the latest installment of something called the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast, no idea what that is, but the Dodger reliever Joe Kelly roasted the Yankees. He called them lazy and said they were the 8th or 9th best team in the postseason. Now, just to prove I'm not making this up, we have some audio. Here is Joe Kelly pointing out the Yankees were the O word.
We were saying every single game, just let them throw the ball to the infield. They can't make a play. I mean, you saw Shohei got an extra base going to third on sloppy Glaber play. It's well known. We all knew. I mean, we're the Dodgers. We know every little detail. It was a fun series. I mean, they almost snagged a couple wins. You know what I mean? But I mean, if it was like the NCAA, like basketball, baseball, hockey, or football, I mean, like it was just a mismatch from the get-go. Like, we had a playoff re-ranking. Like, they might be ranked 8th or 9th best playoff team. You know what I mean? Like, you're putting the Padres ahead of them. You're putting the Phillies ahead of them. You're putting the Mets ahead of them. You're putting the Braves ahead of them, and the Braves just got unlucky because they had to play that doubleheader. You're putting, I mean, the Guardians played like crap, but the Guardians played better baseball around. Like, it was just a complete mismatch.
All right, so he said right there, he spelled it out. But wait, there's more. So Kelly said the Yankees are overrated, and then he points out the difference, the juxtaposition between the Doyers and the mighty New York Yankees. Take a listen.
We just had to play regular Dodger baseball. We didn't have to play out of our butts. We didn't have to do anything crazy, and we're going to win the World Series. It's facts. Like, just look at the team, look at the talent. Re-rank the teams, and they're ranked 8th, and they played against the number 1 seed. So, but like I said, everyone knew. We go through numerous scouting reports, videos. Like, hey, look at this, is sloppy play. Like, I mean, we pay attention to every single detail. You know, we have a lot of big superstars in our clubhouse, but the superstars also care and aren't lazy and play hard. So that's the difference and the biggest separator.
Okay, so Joe Kelly calls the Yankees lazy and the 8th or 9th best team in the playoffs. That is blank. So I've got Home Depot, Piggy Bank, and Mark Twain. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will make the Walk of Shame, which is what the Yankees had to do at the end of the world. They had to make the Walk of Shame. They had to do the whole Walk of Shame. So to answer the question, Joe Kelly saying the Yankees are lazy and the 8th or 9th best team in the playoffs. That is blank. The phrase I have is fact-based. That is fact-based, okay? In terms of the lazy part, telling it like it is, and I realize there is a thin line between genius and insanity, but Joe Kelly had a bird's-eye view. He didn't play in the World Series, but he was there, and he didn't get into a game. However, this is not exactly rocket science. It is not analyzing the Yankees. And I've heard some gas bags and blowhards say, well, the Yankees are not lazy. Well, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Gleyber Torres of the Yankees get scolded by Aaron Boone at one point for not hustling? And was he not also caught during the World Series not hustling? Maybe I missed that, but I'm pretty sure I remember it accurately. And so the Yankees, what they need is a gift card to Home Depot. Because if you look at the Yankee roster, the names are great, but they're lacking all of the tools. They don't have all the tools. They have some tool bags, but they don't have a lot of 5-tool players there. The 5 most basic fundamentals, the big fundamental in baseball, what are they? Right? They're throwing, catching, hitting, fielding, and base running. And the Yankees are poor to really bad at 3 of those 5 things. And they suck at fielding. They are not very good at base running, and you could argue catching, as Aaron Judge dropped the ball in center field. And the 5 basic things, the Yankees are not good at, most of them. They won because of raw talent to get to the World Series, and it's more of an indictment of the rest of the American League than it is about how good the Yankees are. Now, secondly, speaking of the Yankees and speaking of fundamentally unsound baseball players, the personification, the epitome of laziness, Gerrit Cole. What an embarrassment to the mighty New York Yankees. That right-handed stiff, Gerrit Cole, will remain in the Bronx. Now, he had opted out of his contract. He remains on his 4-year contract for another $144 million. He opted out of that contract over the weekend. The Yankees were going to give him an extra $36 million, or at least that's what Gerrit Cole thought. And then the Yankees said, you know what? We're going to play a game of chicken. Bark, bark, chicken. We don't think you want to leave the Yankees, and we don't want to pay you the extra $36 million. And they said they were not comfortable paying that 5th year on the deal after the World Series concluded. So they didn't do it, and Gerrit Cole agreed to stay with the Yankees. So how do you process the Yankees avoiding having to pay, for now, Gerrit Cole an extra $36 million large? So for now, I'm going to give Brian Cashman a reluctant thumbs up. All right, I'm giving him a thumbs up on this. It sounds on this side of the microphone like the Yankees are planning to break the piggy bank at some point and give Gerrit Cole even more money than the $36 million. I hope that doesn't happen. So I'm reluctantly, for now, giving them a tentative thumbs up. They could turn that to a thumbs down at some point. For the time being, that bonehead play by Gerrit Cole, which was the igniter. Now, Aaron Judge started the fire by his misplay, but if Gerrit Cole had just covered first base, shown a little bit of hustle, and gone over to first base, then the Yankees would have given him the extra $36 million. But that should cost you. That's a lot of money, $36 million. But as Joe Kelly said, the Yankees are a dumb team, and they're a lazy team. And Brian Cashman, he put this team together. This is his work. His DNA is all over this team. So you must break the cycle and stop rewarding bad behavior. And if you give Gerrit Cole more money, you're rewarding bad behavior. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Yankees lose both of Gerrit Cole's starts in the World Series? I believe they did, said the wise man. All right, now, final thought. We head now to Northern California. There's a franchise relocation, the former Oakland Athletics, the pride of the East Bay, but some weirdos in the East Bay like the Giants instead. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm kidding. All right, so why are the Athletics refusing to use Sacramento in their team branding? They announced that they will not use Sacramento at all. This had been the rumor, but they have now verified it. It will just be called the Athletics or the A's, but they will not be called the Sacramento Athletics or the Sacramento A's in 2025 and beyond. So why are they doing it? So I had several minutes of a MALLER deep dive on this, and I have determined that the Athletics are dodo birds. That's why, right? They need to shrink. They have deep issues here. They need to work out, do some soul searching. This whole thing is silly. And I don't know anyone that doesn't think it's silly. As Mark Twain famously said, he had many wonderful quotes. My dad was a big fan of Mark Twain. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt, right? Hello, you're going to play in Sacramento. You're staying in California for now. You're not in Oakland anymore, but you're going to Sacramento. It ain't Casablanca. We know that, right? Sacramento ain't paradise, but that's where you're going to be hanging out for the next couple of years, and it's your home, and so you should embrace your home. I believe that. Like, it doesn't matter. You can have a mansion with 18 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms and wonderful. That's great. And you can have a little crappy studio apartment, but make it wonderful. And for the Sacramento Athletics, we'll call them Sacramento, not that we'll talk about the A's very much at all. I don't get why you would not want to, at least for the short term, embrace this. You know it's not going to last more than a couple years unless the deal in Vegas falls apart. And then, obviously, things change, but it's a halfway house, but so be it. Who cares, right? Embrace your halfway house. They're bailing you out. You needed somewhere to play, and the owner of the Sacramento Kings and some of the local hack politicians said, okay. So you're stuck in purgatory. That's your mailing address in Sacramento for now. until the thing in Sin City gets done. But this was a missed opportunity. Bad customer service, which you should expect from a scumbag franchise like the Athletics. And the A's treating Sacramento. You know what they're treating Sacramento like a friend with benefits that you like sleeping with, but you don't really want to go out to dinner with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a little embarrassed, but you're like, all right, I'll hook up with you, but I don't want to go have breakfast or dinner or anything like that. That's essentially what we're doing. Now, I'm trying to think of the comp of this. And it's not exact because the team was not relocating, but they did. Years ago, there was a team in New Orleans. At the time, they were called the Hornets. Now they're called the Pelicans. The Hornets were reborn in Charlotte. The old Bobcats. It's very confusing. But anyway, so the Hornets were ejected from New Orleans. There was this horrible storm called Katrina, and the infrastructure in New Orleans was destroyed, and so they had to play somewhere else. And so they went to Oklahoma City. And you know what they did? They embraced Oklahoma City. They even, believe it or not, wore uniforms that had Oklahoma City on them. Now, those weren't their full-time uniforms. They were called for that season the Oklahoma City New Orleans Hornets, and then they moved back to New Orleans. And then they changed the name to the Pelicans. But the point is they embraced where they were. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the classy thing to do. The A's are low class. They are, and this is embarrassing, right? And whether you like Sacramento or not, and you think it's a nice place, and maybe you don't, maybe you've never been there. It gets very hot in the summer, and there's a lot of hack politicians, moonbat politicians in Sacramento. But aside from that, that's where you're going to be, so embrace it.